Obviously I don't think it's a big one, but it's a bite, it's a start. We got one. It was hard work, but we got one. Right, so we're going to start this video off a little bit different from the norm, because as you can see, we've just moved into darkness. I'm on a day ticket fishery, and this is the first bite I've had, this lovely £25 common. So we're a bit limited what we can do in the dark, folks, so we'll get up at first light and we'll let you know what tactics I use to catch it. Right, so welcome back. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange one last night. You saw me catch that fish, that £25 common. Well, that was the first hour of darkness. And I started getting liners when I got that rod back out, and I was kind of thinking, yeah, this is gonna happen, but just liners all night, and it was just like a bit head scratchy. So we've got up this morning. I ended up moving 2 of the rods because I was just a bit unsure whether I was fishing the right tactics and the right method, well, in the right area as well. And this little one's gone off. Yeah, it's only a small fish, but it's a massive confidence boost, this, because it tells me that what I'm doing is right, and maybe it's just a waiting game for one of the bigger ones to come along. So yeah, we'll get this fish back, and I'll talk you through the rig that I'm using and the products that I use to create it. Okay, so we've just put that little fish back, and like I said, I was going to talk you through the rig that I've been using. This is pretty much my go-to bottom bait rig, and I'll talk you through the components that we've got in there. That's a size 6 anti-eject hook. With that style of hook, I always like to use a liner. It just helps to set the hook better, but in this case I've used the shrimper liner. It's just something a little bit different. Sometimes those percentages can pay off. That's tied onto a £25 gravel jelly wire hook link and the matching anti-tangle sleeve. So I'll talk you through how I put it together. Okay, so we start with about 12 inches of the jelly wire. And we just snip that off. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the hook. So to attach the hook, I use the uni knot. It's a little bit more complicated than a blood knot, but I find it gives me a much better hold. So basically what you do is you go through the eye of the hook and then you create a loop on the two sections that are coming out of the hook. You go back round that loop, and this is the fiddly bit, and you go through that loop 5 times. Like I say, it is a little bit fiddly, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. So once more. So just get the eye that's coming out of that loop and just gently pull that knot in like that. Now before I pull anything tight, I'm going to wet the knot with saliva. And now that's wet, that'll slide down into the hook. I'm pulling tight. Just make sure that knot's bedded down properly. Like I say, that's a very strong knot. I've never had one slide. And the tag end, because we're going to use the shrimp aligner on there, you can leave a little bit on that tag end, but you don't need to if you're not using an aligner. So there's the hook attached to the hook link. So the next thing is to attach the shrimp aligner. Now I'm going to be attaching my hook bait with a bait screw, and I want that bait screw to have a little bit of movement. So for this rig, I just snip these shrimp aligners down slightly. Okay, that's ready. So slide it down the hook link and over the eye of the hook. So that little tag end that I've left on there, I said you could leave that a little bit longer. That just goes into the shrimp aligner with the rest of the line and goes over the knot. So it grips the eye of the hook really tight, does that, because the last thing you want is your aligner moving. It's there to do a job, so that's got a really nice tight grip on the hook there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take 1 inch of the coating back. So what I use is anything from the Comfort range with PB has a stripper tool attached to it. So it's dead handy. Just slide it in right at the very base of that shrimp aligner, and I'm just going to take 1 inch of that coating back. Okay, so just hold that there for a second, let that settle in. So as you can see, where I've peeled back the coating there, it's all ribbed up there, and because it's ribbed, that's perfect for me to attach my rig putty. So with your thumb and forefinger, just place the putty around that spot. What I do is I push it in really tight, and then I fold it round and just work it into a really nice neat little ball. Okay, the last piece I use is the anti-tangle sleeve. Now I've got this in gravel to match the hook link and match the lake bed. Pop that on there. Slide that down the hook link, and from this point we can adjust the length of the hook link. I'm using a hook link on this session of about 8 inches, but if you make it longer you can adjust your hook link. So around about the distance that you want, fold it round, and it's a simple overhand loop knot. Again, like all knots, whether it be braid or whether it be mono, make sure you wet them before you pull them in tight. And I don't like to leave too much of a ring at the top there because I want the anti-tangle sleeve to cover everything. I'll just pull that knot in tight. And once again, like I did before on the hook, we can leave a bit of a tag end there because the anti-tangle sleeve is going to hide that. So slide the anti-tangle sleeve back up the hook link, and you just grab that tag end that I've left, and you can turn that inside out because that's all going to be hidden, and that leaves us a really nice little loop to attach to our swivel. Okay, so for the bait attachment, I'm going to use the ring bait screw. That goes over the hook like that, and to finish the rig off we want a hook bead. You just have to be careful that you've got it absolutely parallel and it runs down the point of the hook properly. You can tell that, you can just feel whether you've got it right or not. And that slides round and round the shank of the hook. Now what I see a lot of people doing is they leave the hook bead round the hook there. Now in my opinion that's going to cost you fish. I don't want the hook bead any further round than parallel with the point of the hook. That makes sure that the hook goes right in and stays in. Like I say, I see a lot of people with it further round. I'm not a fan of that. We've still got plenty of movement in that bait screw, like I said before, because we cut that shrimper liner down just slightly. So we've got loads of bait movement there. But like I say, I don't want that hook bead any further round. So there you have it. That's my go-to bottom bait rig. Very good for weedy waters. The hook, like I mentioned before, the hook is a very strong hook and it goes in and stays in. And you know, where we're fishing here today, there's plenty of snags, weedy areas and reeds that we're fishing to, and we've got the fish through without any problems. Right folks, the left-hand rod has just absolutely screamed off, and I know you shouldn't say it, but this feels like a better fish. This had about 20 yards off me before I could get to the rod. Screaming down the right-hand margin. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we've got it out the danger area anyway, which is good. So we're in open water now, so I don't have to apply too much pressure on it now, because as long as it stays this side of that weed bed, I'm happy. The lead's gone for sure on that take, the lead's gone for sure. Fish is up in the water. Get on, go on, yes, get in. I'll just start from here. I'll just make sure, mate. Well, it looks like it could go 20 this fish, so absolutely excellent result. Okay, so I talked about the hook hold I've been getting with these anti-ejects, and I absolutely needed it for this one. This is an angry common and he tore off down the right hand margin, and yeah, he had a bit of line off me. I was convinced it was going to be a bigger fish, but as you can see, he's a long lean common, and yeah, absolutely nailed him. We got him through the weed, and that's fish number 3, so happy days. So you may notice that I'm in a different swim now. So what's happened was I was fishing down that tree line, like in the middle of the lake, and yeah, the swim dried. We had them 3 fish, and then the swim dried up a bit. And on this nice westerly wind that we've got coming down the lake, I started to see fish moving. So yeah, crazy not to move. So what I've done is I've come down into this swim, try not to disturb the fish as much as I can, but still want to make sure I'm getting a decent drop. And I found 3 areas that I'm getting a really good drop. So the rig that I was using in that swim before is perfect for this type of fishing. You know, if I'm fishing over weed, I'd want a different approach, but that bottom bait rig I showed you, perfect for what we're doing. So what I've done is I've put my 3 rods out. I'm not gonna, there's fish rolling, but I'm not gonna start firing at them. I think if you do that, you tend to find to spook them, you know, they'll find the bait. I've put little PVA bags on, so I'm happy with my spots, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get a fish out of this swim before I go home. Well, it went a little bit quiet and I thought, have I made the right decision? Because I stopped seeing fish, but this right hand rod's absolutely rattled off. It's only a low double common, but it's not fishing well, this lake at the moment. We've not seen many people have a fish, and this is fish number 4 for us, so we'll take it, you know, and it's not fishing well. You have to just thank yourself that you're not blanking. So yeah, we've had 4 fish now, and we've got a few hours left to fish, so there's still potential chance for another bite. Right, well sadly this session's had to come to an end. I'm disappointed if I'm honest, but really I shouldn't be. I've had 5 fish, 5 bites, 5 fish landed, so what I was doing was right. You know, it's a weedy water, we got every fish through that we hooked. There's a lot of fish in this lake, and you always want to get into the bigger ones, but that didn't happen on this session. But really we're looking around the lake and we've only seen 2 other fish caught in the time that we've been down here, so I'm happy with what I've done. One of the things that I will take from this session, that all the moves I made, it ended up another fish on the bank. So, you know, I think I made the right decision when I decided to move. You know, I don't like moving just for the sake of it. I moved because I had a plan. There was a wind change, or I'd seen fish, or I just knew they were in front of me. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy with the session. Like I said, the first fish was a 25-pound common, and you know, I shouldn't be too upset about that. So I hope you've enjoyed joining me on this session, and I'll catch up with you again soon.